Oops. Here we go.
All right. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Condition is for Putnam County, the town session. God bless the United States, God bless Putnam County, and God bless this honorable community.
Thank you. Invocation is from District 9 tonight.
I've asked Wayne Neighbors to bless our county, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Hey, let's bow our heads. Hey, Father, we thank you for this awesome day. Thank you that we live in America where we can come together tonight and just fellowship and take care of business for this particular county that we love so much. Thank you for these folks who are here tonight with a heart to serve. I pray wisdom beyond that you will help tonight. And all those who come before in any presentation, Father, thank you that everything will go according to your will. Lord, there's so many needs across this nation and across this world, and we lift them up to you tonight. Physical, spiritual, just financial, all kinds of things, Lord. We know that you're the great Lord that has everything under control, and we thank you. Father, we just praise you for your Son who died on the cross for our sins, and we give you thanks in Jesus' strong name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your hand set. Everybody press yes and stop right there. Everybody press yes and stop right there for me, please.
Every time.
Okay, Mr. Rogers is not here. Mr. Eldridge is not here. All right, now everybody press confirm. Everybody go ahead and press confirm for me, if you would, please. Excellent. Mr. Chairman, you have 22 present, 2 absent. I declare there is a quorum.
Item number 5, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I hear any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Agenda is approved. Item number 6, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on approval of minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That passes as well. Item number 7, unfinished business and action thereon by the board. Report of standing committees. Planning Committee,
No unfinished business.
Fiscal Review Committee,
No unfinished business.
Nominating Committee.
No unfinished business.
Number B under unfinished business. Report of special committees. Who's chairman of the tax committee?
I'll be handling the review. Ben was actually the chairman, but I was stepping in his place as you are today, too, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you.
Well, you have the floor.
Thank you. All right, everyone. I think most of you are familiar with this process and what we were asked to study. We have a short presentation prepared that I think Steve is going to do for us. They're going to tag team it. Before we do that, there's a few things that I just want to point out. Tax freeze was introduced and passed as legislation by the state of Tennessee in the year 2006. It was first implemented in 2007 with Davidson County, the first county adopted it. It's now up to, I believe, about 26 counties that are using it. the way I got a part of this committee is last year after our budget discussions and tax increase last year, I received several calls from some constituents that had lived in Sevier County in a couple of places, and they made me aware of this tax freeze program that people were eligible for in those counties. And I'd spent some time talking with Ryan Williams and talked with several of our commissioners. It had been studied and discussed by our body of commissioners, but until tonight, there's never been an opportunity for a group of commissioners to vote on whether we wanted to do it or not. In turn, Kathy was working on the same thing, and Kathy Reel was working on the same thing. So we got together and did this committee and really went into it without a full understanding of what it was, but we have a good understanding. I want to summarize it. And I do want to go on record to say that although the County of Putnam has never voted on this particular things, we do and have done for many years some really quality things for our lower end constituents that have a difficult time paying property taxes. We have and participate in the state program where there's a reimbursement for that. We also allocate budgetary money to help offset where the state doesn't pay all of that. And that's something that happens during the budget cycle, and this has no bearing whatsoever on what we continue to decide to do with that program as it comes up. So think of this totally and separate from tax relief. What tax freeze does is to qualifying people, and they're going to give you the data, to qualifying individuals on an income basis and on their particular residences. It will take them eligible at age 65 as long as their income and nothing changes, and they have to qualify each year. It freezes their tax rate. And what that does is it gives senior citizens who are on a fixed income to know from that point forward and that day forward what their property taxes are going to be. We will no longer have the situation that we hear every budget cycle where we're getting calls from constituents in our area that had property tax increases, and the $200 or $300 a year has just completely destroyed their budgets. This gives us an opportunity to have a solid program. It's regulated by the state. It's administered through both the trustee's office and the assessor's office. And it's something that we felt was going to be a very solid program. It doesn't have a large financial impact to the county. It's not a large group of people. And it also doesn't come into play until the next time there's a tax increase. So that, hopefully if we can, keep our budget tight and everything, that might not be something there. But it is going in play. It is an annual opt-in program. It's something that the county we can opt out of it next year or the following year. It's not something we're committing to for a lifetime. But after I think we're all in agreement from a committee, it did come in as a unanimous position to the floor to recommend that we adopt this program in our county. With that, is that a good recap? Anybody else on the committee?
Very good. I was also on the committee, and I really do feel that it's a wonderful tax relief for the property owners with this income level. Our seniors need this relief. The economy is a very burden on them, and they need this help. Most of these seniors have paid and lived here and built this county, so I feel like it's our responsibility to help take care of them. In saying this, I totally support this act, so think hard and vote to pass this. And I thank you for our seniors. It's not only our seniors, 65 and over, but that is our seniors. And they need and depend on us to support their interests. And I thank you, and I do support this.
And I feel the same. Well said, Kathy. But yes, this is needed. It's those little things that make it really hard for that sector of our county to be able to pay those taxes some years. To some people, $200 or $300 might not be a lot, but when it makes the difference that month you have to pay them between buying groceries or buying medicine, it's a big deal.
And I'll just finalize the committee's thoughts before I turn it over. Again, there are other ways to attack issues like this, putting more money in the budget, those types of things. That's not up for discussion tonight. Those are budget items that get discussed here in budget. We're specifically talking to whether we want to add tax freeze into our arsenal. And I also just want to quickly point out that the tax relief program does include veterans and handicapped disabled people, and this program does not. This is strictly for senior citizens over the age of 65 that meet the income criteria that's set by the state. Okay. Anybody else? Committee? All right.
Would this bring on more help in the offices as far as?
Well, yeah, they'll get into that
I'm
at the
sorry.
program,
I'm sorry,
and we did have a work session on this after a committee meeting. Many of you all weren't able to stay and attend, where we had a representative from the state that walked us through it. But I think between Steve and Randy, they'll be able to point all that out.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So I know a lot of you weren't able to stay that night until we had the state folks here. So Steve and Freddie and I, we put this together to give you just a quick overview of what the tax freeze is and then try to answer any questions that you might have. Benny did a good job of explaining it already. It's basically freezing that person once they turn 65 and they meet the income threshold. It freezes their property taxes going forward. The only thing that would affect it would be a property tax increase or reappraisal.
Or a decrease.
Or a decrease. Yeah.
Their base goes down.
Yeah,
It can't
true.
go up.
So anytime you affect the property tax rate or you do a reappraisal, it could affect the property taxes that they're going to pay. Otherwise, they know every year what their tax rate is going to be and what the amount of their tax bill is going to be. So these are on your iPads. If you want to look at the screens, you can, or you can follow it on your iPads. It's a state law that was passed that allowed you to put caps on the property taxes for folks once they turn 65. One thing Benny's brought about is that this does not affect disabled, veterans, any of those things. These are senior citizens, so I don't like the word senior citizen. People that turn the age of 65 and above, it affects them. They have to be eligible each year. We'll go into some scenarios that tells you about those eligibility requirements. It is up to the taxpayer to come to Freddie's office and Steve's office and file the paperwork for them to be eligible for this. And they have to do that every year. And that's not something that we set, that's the state law that was set into place. So if that person doesn't come and file their paperwork a year, then they fall off. And then they have to come back the next year and do it. So it's very important, I think, and we all agreed, and I think in the committee we all agreed, communication about this is going to be very important out to the citizens. Because if you pass this, it only affects the county property taxes. It does not affect the cities. They would have to pass it for it to affect them. So it can be a little bit confusing if we don't really communicate it well, I think, out to the general public. So the criteria for the tax freeze must be 65 years of age or older by December 31st of that tax year to be eligible for it. You must be a resident of Putnam County, and that must be your primary residence, okay? So if you've got 3 different residences, one in Florida and one in Michigan and one in Putnam County, this one has to be your primary residence.
You got 3 residences, your income's going to be more than $39,000 a
Well, I would think so too, Darren, but just telling you what the law says.
Question about the income. That is whatever taxable income. That's a taxable income, right?
All for your internal revenue.
It's the net, whatever your net tax income is, right?
Gross adjusted.
It's what you actually bring in revenue.
Gross adjusted income?
Right.
And Commissioner Wilson also pointed out, I don't think it's in this short slideshow, but the income, although the state sets it, we as a commission have the ability to adjust that income. The recommendation coming from the committee is to start it the first year at the state minimum for our county, and every county is different. I think it's like $60,000 a year in Putnam County, or in Davidson County. For us, it's about 37 or 39, and it adjusts. Now, as time moved on, if we felt that we needed to capture more people into that and we wanted to raise the threshold, we could do that. But the recommendation from the committee is to start it at the state minimum and work from there.
So the state sets this rate each year. They'll notify these guys of what that rate is, and you can always change it if you decide that you want to. Tax relief that we'll talk about in a few minutes, you can't change, but the tax freeze you could if you wanted to raise that amount. We learned from the 26 counties, it was all over the board of what they have done.
How would that affect the tax relief, like the help that some of them, it wouldn't even affect?
It doesn't affect the tax relief.
they wouldn't get it. They would
They
still get that.
Oh, yeah, they still get the tax relief. This has nothing to do with tax relief. This is totally a separate program, okay? We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, John?
Would a person still have to come and apply annually even if the commission does not raise tax rates?
Yes,
They have to apply every year,
every year,
regardless of what the commission does.
every year.
Mr. Porter, will this be on the county website, this information that we have on?
We can put it up there.
And
I can email it to you too if you'd like to have it.
do they have, I mean, I'm talking about the individuals, and do they have to apply in person? Or will they be able to apply online?
Do they have to apply in person?
Yeah, they have to fill the form out, sign it in front of us and all that.
Okay.
What paperwork do they need to prove their income? Do they bring a tax statement or?
Two people talking.
Yeah. Let's go ahead, Freddie. What was you saying? You need to come up here.
Yeah, maybe we can let them go all the way through the presentation and hold your questions. I think a lot of them might get answered in that.
It's just like tax-free, it's just like tax-free, so they have to fill out this form every year, and they have to sign it, and fill out all the forms, have proof of income, have to have Medicare card, Social Security card, and driver's license or some kind of identification with them. So there's a lot of forms that have to go into one of these tax freezes, just like it does the tax relief, so.
Okay, thank you.
Kim, did you get your question answered?
I was just wondering what proof they would have to bring you to prove their income, and you
What
answered
proof do
it.
they have to bring to prove their income?
He just answered.
They need like a Medicare, like what the federal government sends out to them every year. Or they can have one monthly statement from a bank where it's deposited in their account. And what we do is we put a Post-it note up there and put their confidential information where it blacks it out and doesn't show that information, but just 1 month a year, we just need to see what goes in their banking account for the money that they're bringing in for proof.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So that annual income cap for the year, the state's put out is $39,890. So unless you raise that, that's what it would be for the first year. The committee voted for this to be their recommendation, that it be the state minimum for the first year. Do you see how it goes? And then remember, this applies to their primary residence, single-family home, condominium. It's not investment properties. Steve will get into that a little more and he gives you some examples, but if they own multiple properties or whatever, it doesn't apply to those. It's only to their primary residence.
Okay, say you've got a person and they've got a parent living with them. Do you count both incomes or just the property owner's income?
It's the income limit is set by, if a person's single, it's at $39,890, or if they're married, it's $39,890. There's no difference between married and single.
Yeah, but my question is, they may have a parent living with them.
Go ahead.
Or,
If they're married, they would have to include their spouse, or if it's someone that's on the deed. If they're also on the
If they're
deed,
not
then they
on
have
the
to.
deed.
If they have a friend or family that's just living there and they have no interest in the property, then they would not be required to
Okay.
show their income.
thank you.
Yes.
More questions so far?
Thank you.
Okay. Steve?
All right, we want to talk about the process for just a minute too, and kind of, I mean, we're new to this too, so the process, I don't know, we have a good feel for it, we how to start out, but of course, it's administered by the county trustee's office with assistance from our office, the assessor property. Applicants, as you heard, must qualify every year or requalify every year if they qualified a year after. Collaboration between our offices is essential in doing this, and we'll have that, obviously. I think the county trustee, and Freddie will add, accepts that application, verifies some information, their income, some other things, enters that data in their software that they use, and they submit it to us. There may be some processes that Freddie can add. We verify ownership, verify frozen portions of property, 5 acres is a max on there. You can only have 5 acres in the tax freeze program. So anything above that, if you've got 20 acres, only 5 acres can be frozen with the primary residence in there. So we would have to verify that, verify and update any tax freeze amounts as far as, they would have a fractional assessment kind of appraisal that would create a tax bill where we would freeze those 5 acres in the residence, the primary residence only. And then once we do that, basically we're going to have to review whatever's submitted. And I think to answer your question too, the application process is kind of January to April. It's like 35 days past the delinquency date, which is February 28th. So I think it's usually around April 5th would be the deadline. That's why they have to apply every year, because that's long before the tax rate's set, and they don't know if it can increase, so you have to apply every year for that reason. You got anything to add to the process? Okay. Just did some examples. We did this, wrong way. We did this for the committee, asked by the committee to do this. We took, and working with Freddie's office, and these are actually residents that are on tax relief, received a benefit. You can see the home, the acreage, they received $352 in rebate and tax relief, $200 from the county, $152 from the state. The taxes in 23 were $1,541. We were asked by the committee to do a tax increase. Last one we had was 18.8 cents, so I used that. The new taxes will be $1,650 for that same property, and they have $109 savings with tax freeze, having tax freeze in place. We've got a few of these to do. Just took several properties. You can read the information. Again, taxes went from $1,407 with a tax increase 18.8 cents to $1,506 at a savings of $99 for that year. They're already receiving tax relief, which they can receive both. They can qualify for both. The income limits are different. We'll see that a little bit later too. Here again, another property owner received tax relief, same amount, $352. Taxes in 23 were $943. $1,650 was with the increase savings of $67 for that property owner there. Then yes, sir.
In the center, you have received a $352 rebate, $200 from county, $52 from state, and that doesn't equate to the $67.
No, that's right. Yes. That $67 is just if they were part of it. If you adopt the tax freeze, that would be the savings they would get for tax freeze only.
So what do the other two numbers represent then?
The 352.
Represent the county amount the county gets providing for tax relief.
Yeah.
So the county's going to get reimbursed by the state?
No.
No.
The state will contribute $152, and then the county already, I think y'all voted to extend it $50 more, $200 to each one. So they're getting $352 tax relief. And they did get.
Let me say, these are
That's what we're doing now. Currently, they can apply for and receive the $200 reimbursement from the county and $152 from the state.
This was hypothetical examples on had we adopted tax freeze last year and we had that tax increase. We asked them what would the impact have been to some of these families. So they pulled a handful of them of examples that qualified for tax relief, and they'll qualify for tax relief this year or whenever. And they pulled those, and this was showing that had we implemented tax freeze the year before, since there was a tax increase, that $67 would have been $67 less that family would have had to pay if we had adopted this last year before we had the 18.8 cents. Does that make sense?
Here, we had one also that's in tax relief as a Greenbelt property. Here again, that 5 acres is all can be part of the tax freeze program. Their taxes went from $13.69 to $15.66. They already received in 23 $352, which is the tax relief, county, state. With that increase, they would receive $197 benefit with the tax freeze in place.
Steve, where does that $200 from the county come from?
Our budget. General fund.
Okay.
And do you know how many applicants might qualify for this? Have you all done that much study?
Qualifies for tax relief?
Yes, sir.
There's 1,043 right now.
Okay.
But the state has gone up 3,000 on tax relief, so that's gonna bring it from 33,000 something to 36,000. So you can anticipate more people going on, which a lot more would qualify if they would just turn their forms in, but they don't turn their forms in.
Well, and in the tax
Sometimes with tax freeze, people don't want to fool with the forms and they won't turn it in, so they lose the tax freeze.
We're estimating it'll be about 1,300 on the tax freeze versus about 1,000 on the tax relief, and now that's a total guess now. Okay?
There's several that qualify for tax relief because they are veterans, disabled veterans.
For what it's worth, I think
or
it's a good
disability.
idea myself. I'm just one person.
AJ?
So we're talking about 13 to 1,500 people is what you're thinking-ish?
We're guessing about 1,300 on the tax freeze, but a lot of those are going to be the same people that qualify for the
They
tax
qualify,
freeze.
exactly. And we're talking, what, a couple, 300, maybe $400 each?
Well, last year on this one.
Depends on what your tax
197.
increase is on the tax freeze.
Yeah,
Depends on how often we raise taxes.
okay. So I'm trying to get a dollar amount, what we're looking at here.
In these examples, it's up to $100 a piece.
Ballpark dollar amount of what we're looking at?
I couldn't hear you.
A ballpark dollar amount on what we're looking at as far as like what this is gonna cost?
You're not looking at anything until you raise taxes again, or
Gotcha,
you go through reappraisal.
There's an annual cost, because this is going to, we
Yeah.
have to hire 3 new people and additional office equipment for those people, and that's going to be every year in perpetuity. So there is an annual cost to the county.
But not as far as the tax
Yeah.
freeze to the people.
No,
That's
no,
the
that
county's
part is, except that when we do raise the
Right.
taxes, then we just have to raise it a little bit more on everybody else who doesn't qualify for this.
I believe we estimated, what was it, $100,000 a year? Was that what we put in for the budgetary figure as far as additional staff and employees and
We
stuff?
put in about 130, I think.
$130,000 a year in hard cost to administer. And when we did do the research with the other counties, like Fred and Steve, they talked to a lot of people, and Jamie did as well. There were counties that passed this and did not give any additional office support to their trustee's office and their assessor's office, and it killed their counties, just killed them, because you had to budget for the additional work that takes place on annual budget. So we went with the city, as the mayor said, it's probably about $130,000 a year that we would see reflected in their budgets as they were, looking to move forward, so.
Well, not only that, but you have people that apply for the tax relief, and then you have people with the tax freeze. They make $200 more and can't get that tax relief, but they can still get that tax freeze. We put 91 people on payroll last year, people. You're talking about 3 people to help people?
Just as an estimate on that 18-cent tax increase, had you had this in place before, and there was about 1,200 or 1,300 people that applied for it and received it, it's probably a couple $100,000 in property tax that you would have not have gotten.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
That's a ballpark guess with
Sure.
me and Steve, okay?
Yeah.
Are we good to go on? Okay, let's talk about tax relief, and y'all been doing this for years, okay? It's a state program. It's where that low-income folks, 65 years, or the disabled veterans and their surviving spouse, they can apply for. Got to have their primary residence here. Their income level is set by the state also, $36,370 as of right now. County puts in, as we went back on that other one, he was giving you, county puts in about $200. The state puts in their share, and those people get that amount taken off of their property tax bill. That's totally a separate thing. You budget that each year. You just increased it. We've increased it, a couple times in the last 3 or 4 years. It was $100 and went to $150 and then to $200. But that's a totally separate program. It's got its own guidelines and everything. Freddie checked. We was hoping that we might be able to combine some of these forms and stuff they're going to have to do, and he was told no, right, that they have to do everything separate.
Children applied differently online to the state, whether it's tax relief or tax free yet.
And one thing that the state told us, and to your point, is that with the money that we've been allocating, as Mayor said, we have given more each year. Well, a lot of these people are going to qualify for tax freeze, which means we don't have to keep giving more, because the reason we're giving more is because their taxes keep going up and we have to give them more to pay it. So ultimately, over time, we as a county are going to know how much this is, and those line item budgetary where we're putting in the, $200,000 or whatever, $200 per person, we might not have to continue to raise that on basis as every time we raise taxes, so.
So here's a comparison, okay? Try not to get too confused, because this is confusing, okay? We've spent several meetings in committee listening to state folks and everybody tell us, and it is confusing. You're not voting on tax relief tonight. Y'all already have that in place. It's already there. Unless you take it out of the budget and stop this next time, it will be there every year going forward. It's a state program. It's funded by state dollars. The county puts in assistance to that. It's all done by the state coming down, okay? This tax freeze is your decision. If you do this, this is a local program. Everything that's done is done on the local basis. It's administered by these guys. They're going to take care of it every year, and every year these people have to reapply, and it only is going to help them at future tax increases or reappraisals. Everybody good? So some of the frequent questions, and Steve, we'll let you cover this, that we get from constituents.
Yeah, we try to come up with some frequent asked questions as we think of, can I still make home improvements? Yes, you can still make home improvements, but if you make home improvements, it's going to be outside the tax freeze. That part of the house would not. If you add on a sunroom or something like that, that would not be part of the tax freeze. Does the tax freeze transfer to a new owner? No, it doesn't. It's tied to the original owner and does not transfer with a new buyer. Can I qualify for both programs? We've answered that. Yes, you can qualify for both programs. Remember, there's a difference of the $36,000 for tax relief income limit, and it's $39,890 for the tax freeze. So there's a difference there. Okay. May have any more questions we can answer?
My question's actually for Jamie.
Sir.
Now, you and I had a conversation. I was trying to do my due diligence on this, and you had a conversation. I guess you had occasion to meet with some of the other trustees or trustee staffers, and that conversation came up about this. Can you just tell us about that conversation and what kind of feedback you were getting from some of those other county officials?
Yeah, the county had looked into the idea of doing the tax freeze years ago. So Mr. Nelson had asked me to call the other trustees, and the other 94 trustees across the state. I would either talk with the trustee or someone in the office. Most of those conversations, they said that there is a lot of additional work for both the trustee and the assessor's office. And most that were doing the program did not necessarily recommend it.
They did not recommend it?
No.
Did they say why?
They kept going back to the workload that it puts on the offices based on the benefits that the individuals get.
Did any of those?
I'm sorry. Did I need to repeat that?
Speak into the mic.
I'll look toward the microphone, sorry.
Did any of those who were kind of naysayers, did they say whether or not they got additional office support from the commission? Did they get any new personnel, or was it just more work on the same people?
Most of those did, and also spoke with the trustee in Rutherford County. Rutherford County has tax freeze, and they were considering raising to the state maximum income level. And he said he has done the research, and just with increasing the limit from the 40,000 to 60, that he would have to have additional staff just to cover that workload. That's just one example.
Any other?
Yeah, I'll just speak to Jamie, and it's a good question, Jonathan, and we posed the same thing, which is why we had them go through and do staffing concerns, and we wanted to make sure if we were going to do it, let's adequately fund it so we don't overwhelm their offices, because Jamie and I had the same conversation, prior to us putting this together, and a lot during the meeting, and That was the big problem with a lot of the counties. They didn't properly fund it. They said, oh, yeah, the commission's like, yeah, we'll pass it. This is going to be great. We're going to do it. And then it got thrown on the offices without adequate support. And it just dooms the program. It just makes them have to work too hard and go through a higher process. But I believe I'm correct, Jamie or Freddie and Steve, that with what you guys gave us for personnel, you don't feel like you would be overwhelmed, that we would be able to adequately handle it? I mean, I think that's kind of what Jonathan's alluding to. I always want to be clear.
And you're partially correct. Honestly, I've been on the fence on this the whole time, because if you ask all 24 of us who wants to help low-income elderly, 24 hands are going to go in the air. I mean, I've voted to raise the limit on the tax relief, and now this is something new, and I'm just trying to do my due diligence. And so I would love to vote for this, and I might when we come to voting time, because I'm still debating in my mind right now. But I don't want it to be something that we end up spending a fair amount of money for just a little bit of bang. I want to make sure we're getting good bang for our buck. We all hear about these federal programs, and they put so much money into a program, and 60% of it is eaten up in administrative costs. I don't want to do that same thing at the local level. So that's why I'm asking these questions, and I'm open. Somebody convince me, because
Let me try.
That's where I'm at.
Hang on, and let me apologize. Chairman Vicento, I should have asked, obviously, the agenda reflects the committee's recommendation, but is that something that you want to make in the form of a motion, or we should have done this on the front end? That's my fault.
Yes, I think coming from the committee, we unanimously voted to bring it to the floor in the form of a motion that the commission passes.
So are you making that motion now?
I can make it now, yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
If you would please use, anybody that wants to comment for the remainder of this discussion, please use your signalers. And again, I apologize that I probably let that
Thank you for
run a little too long.
That's good pickup.
Mr. Andrews, it hadn't come up yet, but you are first. Go ahead.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, we're good.
I'm not talking. Somebody can't hear, that's loud. I'm not talking to Freddie, Steve, Randy, Jamie, anybody, whether they want it or not. I think we have an opportunity to help the seniors of this county, and I think we're derelict in our duty if we don't try. I have talked to Freddie about this, and it's on here too. If we don't like this, we don't have to stay with it. But the trustee's office has not had a new employee, and I'm not saying they need a new employee just because they want a new employee. But the workload in the last 38 years more than likely has increased. And they've not had any new help. And if that, I'm sure Freddie can find them something to do if we decide to opt out of this. But all that being said, all that being forgot about, what little we would have to raise the tax to make up for this is minuscule, in my opinion. I think we would be derelict in our duties if we didn't pass this. And that's I just think it's a no-brainer. And I think we should pass it, give it a try. If it don't work, we don't have to stay with it. Thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, this will require a roll call vote. It does affect money and finances. Mr. Clerk, if you would, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you do not favor the motion, vote no. And everyone, please stop right there once we've gotten to that point. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? All right, please press confirm for me, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody press confirm. There we go. Mr. Chairman, we have 22 voting yes, 2 absent, 0 no. Declare that motion to have passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any other unfinished business? Item number 8, quarterly reports and action thereon by the board. We have the road fund, the school funds, and the county general fund, debt service fund, solid waste sanitation fund, parks and recreation fund, and self-insurance fund, that the minutes need to reflect that we have accepted those reports. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the reports as listed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. Item number 9, new business and action thereon by the board. Before we get into the committees, we have had a resignation of one of our judicial commissioners, Jeff Sibley, and that needs to be reflected in the minutes that we've accepted his resignation, and I'll entertain a motion to do so.
Motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
I hear a motion and I hear a second.
Second. Do we have some documentation to give to me?
We'll
Minutes.
take care of that,
Okay.
Mr. Jones.
All right.
If there's no discussion,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back up. Who made the motion to accept it?
Fred did.
Donadio.
Mr. Bonder did.
Okay. Who's second?
Kim.
All right. All right. We can do a voice vote.
All in favor of accepting this resignation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes. Now, number 1, Planning Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Committee recommends approval of the resolution updated particular provisions as stated therein of the most recent versions of the International Energy Conservation Code, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Williams?
Sorry. In reference to the question that Commissioner Bennett asked earlier, I know they're asking us to adopt this document. We haven't seen the document to know, I mean, we see the list of changes, but I don't know what we're really changing. So I'm really not prepared to vote on it.
Just updating codes, state codes, all you're doing.
Are these codes that we've already adopted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of updating the codes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item B, Planning Committee recommends approval of the Solid Waste 2023 Annual Progress Report and 10-year plan, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That motion passes as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes planning.
Fiscal review.
Thank you. Item A recommends approval of budget amendments to the county general fund, and I so move.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments to the county general fund. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote, and then stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere, please press confirm for me now, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody press confirm. Everybody press confirm. Mr. Sent, there we go. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, 21 voting yes, 0 no, 1 abstain, 2 absent. I declare that motion to have passed. Madam Chair.
Item B recommends approval of budget amendments to the general purpose school fund, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments to the general purpose school fund. Any discussion on that item? Seeing
All right, seeing none, take your own seats. If in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Now, please press confirm for me, ladies and gentlemen. You're doing great. Thank you so much. Mr. Andrews. David. Spoke. Chairman, there are 22 voting yes, 0 no, 2 absent. Declare motion to have passed. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Item C recommends approval for the county mayor to purchase jointly with the city of Cookeville by bid or negotiation property for industrial development. The total price and price per acre will be determined in consultation with the city manager, and the county mayor is given the authority to enter into a contract for the purchase of said property, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Stop right there for me. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Please press confirm now, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody press confirm. Madam Chair, 22 voting yes, 0 no, 2 absent. Declare that motion to have passed.
Thank you. That concludes fiscal review.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Number 3, nominating committee.
Recommends the approval of the Library Board of Trustees nominee Brian Payne to the Library Board for a 3-year term expiring June of 2027, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to make an appointment to the library board. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes nominating.
Thank you, Chairman. Report of special committees. Don't think we have any. Resolutions.
No resolutions, Mr. Chairman.
Election of notaries.
I have several tonight. Lane Okai, Jennifer Boyd, Tammy Kennett Mahaney, Dusty Clark, Helen Daniels, Andrew J. Donadio, Jacob Flatt, Shauna Free, Emily Green, Dessa Hicks, Reese Jones, Denise Julian, Lydia L. Key, Dwayne Kennett, Heather J. McAfee, Holly C. Meals, Sloan Norrid, Bob Palmer, David W. Poston, Jody Powell, Aaron Seymour, Mary Stewart Shirley, Joshua Stites, Sarah Tungate, Catherine Whited, Elizabeth Williams, Stacy L. Willis, Sandra G. Wilson, Erica Wooten, and finally, Jennifer Wright.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the notaries. Mr. Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
All right, these have to be voted on. Please take your handsets and just press yes for me, if you would, please, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody pressing yes. Now go ahead and press confirm for me, if you would, please. These have already been actually taken care of and confirmed, all done, passed by my office. Mr. Andrews? Good deal. Thank you very much. All 22 voting for, 2 absent. I declare that motion to have passed. Thank you so much.
Other new business. Recognize the appointment of Craig Sims to the Bingham Utility District Board, term to expire May 2028.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We just, it's
No.
reflected in the minutes. It
just-
doesn't require
you
a
have to have
motion or a
motion
vote.
second, right?
Makes it easy.
We just make it a part of the minutes. Yeah.
Item number 2, under other new business, ratification of Mayor Porter's reappointments to the Insurance Committee for 2-year terms expiring May 2026 as follows: Chris Cassidy, Tommy Copeland, and Ben Rogers.
Motion.
Need a motion on that one?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion.
Second.
Did you second? Mr. Wilson made the motion. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all are in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That motion passes. Item number 3, under other new business, hear from Corby King, Director of Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me and giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. And I want to start tonight just by saying thank you to all of you who were able to attend the joint work session with our school board a couple weeks ago. I think that was very informative and provided a lot of information on the growth of our school system and the growth of our community. Those of you who were unable to attend, I do hope that you had an opportunity to receive the packets, the information that we presented that night. And that's what I'm here for tonight, is to talk about the Parkview renovation. You heard from the group that the school board has chosen to move forward with that project, and the estimated cost in the range of $6.5 to $8.5 million. And I heard, from you all that night looking for hard numbers. To do that, we would like to ask for a bond, so then we can go into negotiations, contract, and finalize that. We also that evening shared some $7.5 million in maintenance projects that we prioritize that are needs right now. I'm not asking the commission to prioritize any of those or to get into choosing which projects. That is, the school board would do that, but I do want you to know where the money would go. If you approve a bond to move forward, I want you to know this is where that money's going. So what I'm asking for this evening is approval of a bond. Talking with Mayor Porter, we can do up to a $13 million bond without a tax increase. That's in consultation with Raymond James. Mayor Porter, is there anything I need to add to that?
The only thing I'd say is after the meeting with the school board the other night, they brought this up, did work with Raymond James. We'd be paying interest only for a couple of years because we hit 27, 28, our bonding capacity doubles almost. We cut our debt almost in half. And so that's the reason that we'd be able to do this without a tax increase if you decide you want to do it. Looking about 4.3% as an interest rate currently on the market. We'd be looking at about a 60-day to 90-day turnaround on issuing the bond. If you voted on it tonight to do it, we'd have to bring you all the paperwork back at a future meeting, but it would at least start the process if you decide you want to do it. But looking at our bonding capacity and our debt service right now, you could do it without a tax increase if you decide you want to do it.
So that is our request this evening, is for approval for that bond so that we can move forward with the renovation of Parkview. We feel like this is a good value for our community. It's kind of a no-brainer when you look at the cost of new construction. We add classroom space at all of our classrooms. We would convert the current Parkview school into a pre-K center. It would be a centralized pre-K for the Cookville and Allgood pre-K programs. That would free up 2 classrooms, 2 to 5, depending on, we've got some special education pre-K classes in some of our elementary schools, but it would free up between 2 and 5 classrooms to allow room for growth in all of our elementary schools in the Cookville and Allgood area, something that we desperately need. And we can do this for much less of a cost than what new construction, just based on the current cost of building Parkview, or replacing the Parkview school. So I'll entertain any questions. I'll try to answer those, but that is our request this evening.
Commissioner Facento, you're first up.
Yes, I'd just like to go on record publicly, Mr. Kagan, commend you and the school board for the work program that we had. I was very impressed with it. You learned from the snafus that we had on the last school project where the commission had allocated a bond and came back and had to ask for more. I think you've eliminated that being a possibility this time, and I think that's an excellent move on your part. And I don't know if it's proper, but I'd be honored to turn this into the form of a motion, if that's okay. And I make a motion to give them the $8 million flexibility that they need to get working on this. And for those of you who attended the work session, we'll get some exact numbers that we'll have to vote on again to approve. But I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. We'll continue through with our discussion. Mr. Wilson, I think you're next.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes, sir. I want to say again, the other night, the fact that you had the team there from the architectural crew and
Yes,
the construction
yes.
crew, fantastic. The fact that it's $116 a square foot with a cost, I think if I remember those numbers correctly, $112, $116 a foot, something like that, compared to $300 a foot for new construction, perfect use for that facility. The fact that they put a $2 million roof on it, excellent idea for this. I agree with Commissioner Facento that this was a fantastic meeting the other night, probably one of the best joint meetings in my personal opinion. I've talked to other commissioners that were there, they felt the exact same way. And I want to commend you and your team for that, and I totally support this decision.
Thank you.
Commissioner Andrews?
Well, they both stole my thunder. I was just going to say is one of, if not the best meeting I've been to in a while. It's very informative. They had their stuff together. They had a great presentation. The company that presented was, I thought, impressive. And I was going to make the motion, but if you need a third, I'll third it.
Commissioner Randolph?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm sorry that I couldn't make the meeting. I'd have been there if I could. But I did get the packet that Ms. Reed sent me, and I'm thankful for that because I know that she sent it to me. And those of you that don't know, Ms. Sharon Reed passed away this week, and she's just a really dear friend of mine, and I know a dear friend of the school systems. And she's been there through countless superintendents and directors of schools. And she passed away, and my condolences to the school system and to her.
It's been a tough week, thank you.
And I do think that you have a really good plan in place, and I really appreciate that, and I fully intend to support it. Thank you.
What happened to Ms. Reed?
Well,
Well, if you don't want to talk about it, but never mind.
Thank you.
One thing I would add, the plan opens up classrooms and delays building, and I think that's a plus. Or that's the way I understood it, opening up classrooms, postponing or diverting or whatever you want to call the need for a new school, at least for a while. And I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great meeting.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Just to be clear, before we vote,
What is the motion?
Mr. Facento, your exact motion was for us to issue a bond in the amount of?
County Clerk, did you make a notation there that you want to, Rebecca, you want me to remake the motion clear?
I was at that meeting too. It was setting an amount not to
8 million
exceed-
was what I said in the motion? Was that
Is it
correct?
not, you setting an amount not
Up
to
to
exceed a
8.
certain amount? Is that where we talked about?
The amount, the range they gave on the Parkview renovation was 6.5 to 8.5 million. What I was hoping we could do tonight was look at the maintenance needs list that we have. What I was asking was for 13 million, which is talked
So
to
what we could do without a tax increase was 13. I'll amend my motion
sir.
to reflect 13 million,
Okay.
which in the work session, we did go through what that was going to be for. And again, I'll remind everybody that before the
Yeah.
money actually gets spent.
Is that amount or approval
Up to, do you need an up to, or do you need a specific?
I think if you do 13, Mr. Facento, that gives us all of the Parkview renovation, but it also gets us into this list.
Let's just
So that-
make it a flat 13.
And then that way you guys don't exceed and you know where we're spending.
Not to exceed 13 million.
Yes.
Okay, not to exceed.
We got to issue the bond for an exact amount, so.
Is that the right amount, Mayor?
They're saying 13 million.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, 13.
And giving me the authority to start the process and issue all the documents necessary to issue the bond.
I'd like to re-clarify my motion here. So, I'll make a motion that we approve a bond up to, not to exceed $13 million, and also give the mayor the authority that's necessary to begin the paperwork and draw up the process to get it working.
Second.
Miss,
Didn't
Ms.
you
Bradley.
say you needed it to be a certain amount?
13
That
million.
covers it.
That covers it?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Up to but not to exceed.
Yes, sir.
All right, Chelsea, you got that wrote down? Between you and Mr. Jones, y'all gonna have to get that to me in the
That
morning.
might be a record for motions and remotions right there.
All right,
Any other discussion? Since this is spending money, this will require a roll call vote.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, no other discussion, take your handsets. If you favor the motion for the bond issue, vote yes. If you do not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Stop right there. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote at this point? Wait. All right, now please press confirm for me, ladies and gentlemen. Now press confirm. Mr. Chairman, of 22 voting yes, 0 no, 2 absent. I declare that motion to have passed.
Just want to say thank you. This is exciting for our community, for our school system, and we look forward to meeting again next year and reporting on the progress we've made. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Director King.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Any announcements or statements? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.